Hello everyone, how are we doing today? Welcome to this week's F1 Clash Community Championship 2023 recap video, as well as our rewards from last week's Hot Prospects event. So we're talking like our rewards, how we did, and the things that tripped us up. I'm looking at you, Singapore. I am looking straight at you. But my name is JayCaulls, you can just call me Jay. I am a sim racing and gaming content creator on here at YouTube, Twitch and TikTok as well. You will also know me as the Alpha Tauri team captain for this F1 Clash Community Championship. It's an absolute pleasure once again to be leading this team to hopefully a little portion of glory, as we're about to find out in the next segment. Two teams have slowly pushed away and we find ourselves in a battle with a couple of people who are very desperate to take the final step on that podium. Underneath in the video description I have put timestamps on there, so if there's any parts of the video that you want to skip, I've made it nice and easy for you to do so. I don't expect anybody to ever watch through the entirety of these videos. If you do, that's fantastic. If you don't, that's not a problem. Made it a little bit easier to you to watch what you want to watch. Once you're into there, in the description below, you'll find all the links. We're talking like Twitter/X, Discord. There's a little section there for Alpha Tauri and F1 Clash players as well. Also there, my Twitch, Kick, TikTok, all that wonderful stuff as well. Watch there as well. Like, subscribe, check out the rest of the videos we do. Without further ado, let's see how we're doing this week on the F1 Clash Community Championship. Let me be completely honest with you, I was very nervous when accepting the role to take over from team captain for Alpha Tauri for this F1 Clash Community Championship. I had it just in the back of my mind that suddenly the form was going to dip and we'd just slowly be losing positions and falling down the grid. However, that's not happened. We've carried on battling and we find ourselves a couple of extra points in front of Mercedes this week. Originally 4, we are now 7. But that's not what anyone's going to be talking about this week. What everyone's going to be talking about is the fact that Alfa Romeo and Alpine drew this week. Yes, I'm not kidding, with the median scores. They drew, which means for... I think that's the first time this season we've had the top 2 teams draw. It's put them on half points, and suddenly it is a battle next week to see if Alpine or Alfa Romeo will come out on top for next week's event. For ourselves, we need to carry on what we're doing. We're doing an absolutely fantastic job, so everyone who is part of Team Alpha Tauri, I am so proud of you all. A couple of weeks left, let's carry on pushing. Try and get all 8 of those races done. If you have any tactics that you feel are going to work for a lot of these tracks next week, then feel free to share them underneath in the comments below. But don't just do 1 race, don't just do 2. Try your best to get all 8 races done. If you strategize and you prepare right, then honestly the world is our oyster, and I want to make sure that we get some winnings to give to you lot in Alpha Tauri. So let's do what we can to keep in that 3rd spot. Let's keep Mercedes and Williams at bay behind us, and if by some miracle Alpine or Alfa Romeo start slipping up, then we need to be able to give them a massive scare when they next look over their shoulders. Let's go over and have a look at the Future Prospects event, and let's see exactly how I did. Things were going pretty swimmingly. Abu Dhabi, Hungary, not really any problems at all. A nice, easy 1-2. So far, so good. We had a few challenges come our way, especially in terms of much better team scores going up against us. And the bait of my life, half a time, a safety car with fears of incoming rain. Luckily for Kota, we timed everything perfectly. No rain came, and we got our 1-2 there. In Melbourne, it was a little bit closer. Having to really gamble with Sargent's ability to keep his tyres going. We very closely, as you saw there, got the 1-2 maximum points. Even at Brazil, we had to really depend on a solid strategy, keeping on believing. Our opponent going on to hards, we used it to our advantage, keeping to our 2-stopper with Sargent, or 3-stopper. No, it's 2-stopper, sorry, I can't count. 2-stopper, getting our opponent on the last 2 corners and keeping the streak alive. Once again with another big team score difference, and then came Singapore. Starting off as what was supposed to be a nice, simple race. Fortunately, disaster struck. A first lap safety car plus rain on its way on the next weather cycle. It was a situation I've never come across before in my very short time with F1 Clash. I panicked, and upon reviewing the footage with teammates, they came to the decision that, well, I say I'm an idiot, but for them, they've told me just chose the wrong tyres at the wrong time. With the rain finally coming, I could have easily probably stayed out on the dry tyres I was on, and then the double stack. It was just a massive amount of inexperience on my part, and the streak was unfortunately over at that point. But we live, we learn. Hopefully if this situation comes around again, we'll be much better prepared. So even though Piastri managed to get the win there, it was just a little bit too late, and I was not a happy person after that, I assure you. Unfortunately for our opponent after that, we were at Zandvoort, full wet race, and it was just an absolutely dominating display from both drivers. With one race left, we were so close to maybe making it a 1-2 for our club, but once again, things are never really that simple for myself. Car science crashing in Sector 2 of Silverstone. At least this time it wasn't the very, very first lap of the race, but still, it was a complete gamble on our strategy, depending on what our opponent was going to do as well. Once again, it was just a case of we chose wrong with our tyres. At the same time, we were against a much stronger opponent that we maybe would have had a chance of if it stayed dry. But once our rival was able to get the tyres he wanted, they were able to control the race and give us possibly our worst finish of this campaign. This week's F1 Team Series event is for Alpine, and looking at a few of these tracks that we have, so the qualifying round is going to be Mexico City, a dry Montreal, a very high chance of a wet Suzuka, and then another dry Imola after that. That's just for your qualifying round. For the opening round and the final round as well, I've double checked, I've triple checked to make sure there's no variations, and there's none at all. So we are looking at a dry Singapore, very close to the high temperatures but 2 degrees off, and then we have Hungary, also dry, a dry but a very warm Jeddah, and what was the bane of my life last week, Silverstone, is completely wet this time, so at least it would be a little bit better for me to judge and not make the same mistakes again. Hopefully none of you lot do either. Then we have a surprisingly very cold Baku. We're talking 1 to 3 degrees. That's very cold for Baku, in all honesty. Barcelona, dry. Austin, dry, which is good because that is such a long and difficult track to manage your tyres on. And then finally we go over to Spielberg, the Austrian Red Bull Ring, for what could potentially be a high temperature race going from 26 degrees to 32. So depending on that one, choose your tyres carefully. But it's a much simpler set of tracks this week, and I don't foresee, apart from maybe Suzuka in the qualifying round, I don't really foresee much trouble at all, to be honest, with those ones. But once again, if anyone has any tips they have for any of these tracks for newer players like myself, and potentially newer players who are watching this video as well, feel free to chuck underneath a few little pointers just there. But thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to carry on being the team captain for Alpha Tauri. It's been awesome so far. I've met so many of you on the club I've just joined, and people coming through on the Discord, join the streams as well. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up underneath, subscribe, check out the links underneath and the rest of the content. If you want to support a creator, then just use code J. That's not just the letter J, I'm talking about JAY. Get that in as well, and I shall see you all, if not during this week's videos for the sim racing, next week's video to see if Alpha Tauri can keep third place F1 Clash Community Championship. Take care of yourselves. Most importantly, please make sure you take care of each other.